Hi there, guys. Another recipe for me, your technologically inept foods teacher. Now, today we're gonna do crepes. Super easy, uses very little ingredients, no leavening agents, and looks something like this, okay? So, in my house I have a crepe pan. In your house, you do not need a crepe pan, that's for sure. You can just use a non-stick, so preferably a non-stick pan for your crepes. The batter for this is very, very thin, thinner than you would think. So a lot of kids would be like, Ms. K, is this right? This looks so thin. And I'm here to tell you, yes, that's correct. So the ideal crepe should be thin like a piece of paper. You should be able to see your fingers through it, okay? So I can see my fingers through it, so that's nice and thin. Oftentimes, your first crepe doesn't turn out perfect, that's fine, and you gotta adjust the consistency. So, I'm gonna make some more here. I added a little bit of canola oil, so maybe a tablespoon of canola oil, 15 mils of canola oil, and a little bit of water to thin it out because I found that this recipe was slightly too thick. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna take my ladle. I have my frying pan in one hand, so non-stick is important. And then I'm gonna put this into the middle and basically gently move the frying pan around, trying to fill in all the holes. Okay, and if there's a couple holes, it's no big deal. You can just get a little batter, fill in those couple holes, that's fine. But the idea is that you want to use as little batter as possible to make the crepe. You want it to be see-through, you want it to be thin. A crepe is not something you play with in the pan, so once it's in there, let it cook. You will begin to see the edges lift, you'll start to see them become very golden brown. A lot of people say you actually don't even need to flip over a crepe. You don't, because they're so thin they cook all the way through. Pretty easy. I'm just going to put a little bit in some of these little areas where it didn't hit. Okay, they don't have to be perfect because at the end of the day we're going to be rolling them up. So, speaking of rolling them up, let's take a look what I got here. So, the recipe included in your Google Classroom is, I've included two. So, crepes with fresh blueberry sauce, or I've included crepe Suzette, which is crepes with a sauteed apple mixture. Now, you could choose whichever version you want, but the main thing is, so I did a sour cherry mixture for mine. But the main thing I want to teach you about this is thickening agents. So, if you look over here, so thickening agents. A roux is hot, fat, and starch. Today, to thicken this fruit sauce, we're going to use what we call a slurry. So cold liquid and starch. So you'll see it says 10 mils of cornstarch dissolved in 30 mils of water in a custard cup or small dish. You're adding into berries 100 mils of water and sugar, and you're basically going to thicken it to be a consistency like this. You can see that this is fairly thick. And when we thicken with cornstarch, you could use any starch. When you thicken with cornstarch is great for fruit sauces and things because its finish is very, very glossy. It has a high shine finish. The only other starch that has a higher shine finish than cornstarch is tapioca flour. So if you want a nice glossy finish, use cornstarch. It's a great choice. Okay. And whatever fruit you have, I know it says blueberries, but you could use raspberries, strawberries. I had cherries, so that's what I used. It doesn't have to be blueberries. Just use what you have. And the fruit could be fresh. It doesn't have to be. It could be frozen. It doesn't have to be. So just use what you have. If you have apples, saute those in a little bit of butter in a frying pan. So, use what you have in your homes. That's why I'm choosing this recipe. Okay, so the crepe batter is super thin. So let's take a look at this batter now, just to give you an up close. So see how thin it is? It's running like water, okay? So that's exactly how thin it needs to be able to coat a pan like this. So I'm gonna run so you can see that it's golden brown on the edge. I'm running my rubber spatula across my pan because you never wanna use a metal tool in a non-stick frying pan. And I'm gonna flip mine over there. See how it looks GBD on the sides? Okay, so just try to get your rubber spatula in there. Give it a flip. Okay, it looks great. Okay, I'm gonna move this. It doesn't need to really cook any longer. I'm gonna move this over here to my crepe plate. Now, the fillings for crepes are infinite. So you can use a fruit filling, but it doesn't have to be. You're gonna notice that I've given you some other suggestions inside the material for today's class. You could do an egg filling, eggs and chives. You could do you know, like a cheesecake style filling with some fruit. You could just do basic whipped cream. It doesn't have to all be fruit and sweet and rich. You could just do some whipped cream. You could do other fillings, ham, cheese, potato filling, all kinds of things, right? It doesn't all have to be sweet, 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 right? Okay. So while we go on with that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a couple ways to fold a crepe. So I'm going to take these crepes here and I'm going to just flip this guy over. So a few ways that you can fold a crepe. All right, so number one, pull your plate right up here, put the filling in the middle, get some cherries in there. So delicious, okay? And then you can put the edges in, pull it over, kind of like a taco, and roll it up. Okay, so that's one method. Another method for folding crepes. Okay, again, filling in the middle. Ooh, Miss Kay, spill. All right. That's a bit much. I'm going to take some more. You fold it over itself into half, right, into half moon, and then fold it into a triangle, okay? So you can use any selection of those that you want. And then what I might do is I might just take some icing sugar and just for a nice finish, dust a little icing sugar over top, and then there you have some nicely finished crepes to enjoy. All right, that's it. Until next time. Have a great day from your Technologically Inept Foods teacher. Take care of yourselves. Be safe.